What is up, guys? Muffin here, and we are back with another Tales-related video. So, those who've been paying attention to my videos and Twitter over the last, I'd say week or so, I have mentioned several times that I will be out of town this week. You should be seeing this video Monday, and then, of course, all the other videos to follow up to Friday will be pre-recorded stuff. So I figured, since I won't be able to pre-record content, some of it will be pre-recorded content. But, any news that drops and stuff like that, I won't be covering in video format because I do not have a laptop or anything, and I'm not going to bring my desktop computer with me on this little trip I'm going on. So I will not be able to cover that stuff, but I still want to have stuff for you guys to watch on the channel. Any news that does drop, I will make posts in my community tab and on Twitter, and then when I return Friday night, I will make official videos on all the stuff I missed while I was gone. Anyways, enough about that. I figured this first video was, I've wanted to make this one for a while, but I've just never really sat down and, been like, alright, let's go ahead and record this. But I think this would be a little fun video to talk about, and I'd like to hear everyone else's stories in the comments below. I'm sure you'll know based on the title what this is going to be about, but I basically want to talk about my history with the Tales series, how I got into it, when I pretty much got into each title that I've played, and so far and so forth. So I guess without further ado, let's just dive in. So, my first Tales game was Tales of Symphonia on the Nintendo GameCube. Back then, I want to say, I wasn't really, super into anime stuff. I mean, I liked anime stuff, but I feel like a lot of the video games I was kind of playing back then, so that's early 2000s, I remember when the first Halo came out, I was playing a lot of that. I played a lot of Nintendo games. I mean, obviously, I had a GameCube. My first console was a Super Nintendo, and then I had an N64, and then I had a GameCube, but it wasn't, I think Tales of Symphonia was besides, some Dragon Ball games, actually, I think my first Dragon Ball game was probably also on the GameCube, so I can't even really say that, but I guess Pokemon would be my first kind of, anime series in games. But yeah, so Tales of Symphonia was my first game, and back then, when it first came out, I was still very young, I was probably 12, 13 when the game first came out. I guess that kind of tells you how old I am, so that's lovely. But, at first, I didn't really get too far. I did not beat the game when I was a 12 or 13-year-old. I remember starting the game, playing through it. I think I got lost in Triet, the Triet area, when you first get into the desert and everything. And I remember having, I didn't, play as consistently as I do now when it comes to gaming, because, obviously growing up as a kid, you got school, you got all that important stuff. But I just remember every time I pick up the game, I would either restart and see if I could figure it out better, because back then I wasn't reading, the dialogue. I wasn't paying super attention to the text, so I had no idea where I was supposed to go next. So there was that, and then I think I didn't actually beat Tales of Symphonia until after I had beaten Vesperia. So I guess moving on from that, so Tales of Symphonia was my first Tales game, and then my second Tales game was Tales of Vesperia, shortly followed by Tales of Symphonia Dawn of the New World. So, if I'm remembering correctly, I got... Actually, no, Tales of Vesperia wasn't the first. This is going to be a weird story. So, we'll come back to the Symphonia thing in a second. I got Tales of Vesperia through GameFly. I had GameFly around when Vesperia had first come out, and I had it, borrowed or whatever, rented, whatever you want to call it. I had Vesperia. I ran into a glitch with the disc that I had. So when you're going to, by the way, this is going to have spoilers because I'm going to have to explain what parts of the game I was at when I moved on to other games. I got to where, after Judith kind of reveals herself as, the Blastia Hunter, and you go to the mountains to kind of get her, my game had a glitch. There was one unavoidable enemy. It was one of the, the dragon monsters out in that mountain. There was a specific one that you physically could not walk around. It just always blocked the entire path. It wasn't like a forced encounter, but it was just a random enemy that was just placed specifically on the map. You couldn't get by him. And no matter what I did, I could not get past that. Whenever I would encounter that enemy, before it even started the battle, the game would just crash. And I even took it so far as to replay the game up to that point again, and I still got that exact same crash. So there was obviously something wrong with my disc. You know, I sent it back to GameFly. For whatever reason, they said I, like, stole a game or something, because apparently they never got that copy of Vesperia back, so my subscription got canceled, even though the game didn't work, so that was something. So I never beat Vesperia. So at this point, I've had 2 Tales games, that neither of which I had beaten. And then it was after that. Then, I don't remember when Dawn of the New World... I know it came out in 2008. I remember buying Dawn of the New World, but then I was like, I haven't beaten the original Symphonia, but I still started Dawn of the New World first. I didn't finish Dawn of the New World before I went back to the original Symphonia. I think I got to the point where you finally learn that, you know, Decus was the one who was pretending to be Lloyd, and then I went back to the original Symphonia and then fully played through it then, and then beat Dawn of the New World. And then it was like, I want to say it was around like 2010 where I finally got a copy of Vesperia myself, and then I went through and finally beat it. And then, you know, Vesperia was... I've actually said this to people before, where Vesperia is kind of like a comfort game, so to speak, where it's like, in a sense that it's not a game I really have to think too much about. I've played it so many times that if I just feel like doing a casual playthrough, I know where to go at every point of the game. I know where everything is. So I never really, not for Definitive Edition, obviously there's some changes, but original Vesperia, I think on my Xbox 360 I had like 9 playthroughs done for that. So of all the Tales games, I would say that's definitely like the game I can just like pick up and just do the entire game without really having to think about it too much. Symphonia, I do, you know, because it's not as linear, I guess you could say, as Vesperia, there are some points where I'm just like, okay, I gotta remember kind of which part I have to go to next, because you do have a vast world to kind of explore. So those were my first 3 Tales games. After that, I believe my next Tales game, I bought Tales of the Abyss on 3DS. You know, I had a 3DS, I saw it was on there, I got it. You know, when I played through it there. I wouldn't say it was the best experience, just because my hands are so big that, you know, playing games, you know, action games on a handheld isn't always the best situation for me, but I enjoyed it for what it was. You know, Abyss was a very fun game. So there was that. So I got, you know, whenever... It was soon after, you know... I think it was when the new... No. I remember, because I bought the Super Smash Bros. 3DS. And then when the Super Smash Bros. For 3DS and Wii U came out. And then it was like soon after that that I bought the... I saw it in like a Target or something. I saw Tales of the Abyss. I was like, oh, another Tales game. I may as well play this. And at this point, you know... I wasn't someone who was into like forums or fandoms and stuff like that, so at this point I was completely just like oblivious to the fact that Tales had a fandom and stuff like that. So, you know, I hadn't been on the internet, you know, talking to people about the series. It was just kind of something I played on my own, you know, in my little innocent stage of not knowing anything. And then after that, I did not play a Tales game until 2015, or I guess it was 26. I forget if it was 2015 in Japan. I think we got it in 2016 when Zestiria came out. Zestiria and Berseria was when I really kind of like, at that point I was like on the internet. I remember Zestiria on my original like first, I think I've had like 3 Twitch channels at this point. On my original Twitch channel, I remember I did a playthrough on my PC of Zestiria. I guarantee you, like, I had one of my friends, because he was interested in the game, but he was never gonna play it himself because he didn't have the systems for it. He was my one view on that entire playthrough, and it was at a time where like I could only upload like 15-minute segments at a time. I didn't have recording software or anything. I was just playing Zestiria, like streaming it. And then those 15-minute segments were being like uploaded to like, I think it was like my first YouTube channel or something. You know, way back. So I played Zestiria. You know, I loved it. You know, Berseria, I really wasn't, even after Zestiria, I wasn't like super invested in like the fandom. I think when I first joined Twitter, I was more into just like the general anime fandom. I didn't really find too many Tales fans until I really started to like create like videos for it. Which I think was back, you know, when I did an original Tales of Berseria. Oh, let me save that. So then 2017 rolls around. Tales of Berseria comes out. I think it was like the last day of January. We got it in the West of 2017. And that was my first Tales game that I did a playthrough on the channel. it was my old channel, which my old channel was just a whole bunch of random stuff. I remember I did like, I don't even remember what that website was called, but I was doing like anime reactions on this other website. And, you know, I was playing all sorts of different games, just doing like playthroughs. I remember I had like a whole bunch of Let's Plays for some old, you know, games. Like I think I did I had a full playthrough of like the original Paper Mario on there and stuff like that. I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do with that channel, and you know, at the end of it, because of all the anime reactions and stuff, it did end up getting taken down. And of course I started from scratch, and then this is the channel you see now, which is mostly just like, you know, for the most part, it's Tales. You know, we do have SAO on the channel as well, but it's mostly, it's funny, I say it's mostly Tales, but the bulk of, you know, I'm sure the influx of subscribers came when I started playing Rising Steel, but the channel overall, if you look at everything, mostly Tales videos. So I did an original Berseria playthrough. You know, that was my first time doing like a blind game playthrough. I don't even actually remember too much of it. I'm sure if I could still find those videos, they would be very cringy and horrible to look at. And of course, we'll be doing the same thing with Arise when it comes out. We'll be doing a full playthrough on the channel. But that's pretty much up to, you know, with new releases, how it kind of went with Tales. After that is when I had to obviously we haven't had a new Tales game since mainline game since Berseria, which was, you know, for Japan 2016 and for us 2017 here in the West. So, you know, it's been over 4 years since it came out in the West. And, you know, we're getting Tales of Arise here in, you know, just over, I'd say about 2.5 months. Just over 2.5 months. But I have played some of the older Tales games since. I'm just trying to remember exactly what order I kind of went with. I think I played Tales of Innocence first. I went through that probably back in early to mid 2019, I want to say. And then I went through early last year, before I started getting into the Trails series. I played through Tales of Rebirth. I played obviously the Japanese version. It's the only version that exists. Bandai, please localize it someday. But I had there was like a script on GameFAQs that I was playing it, you know, in front of me, and then on my computer in front of me, I had the GameFAQs script that I would just scroll down, you know, as I was progressing the game. So Tales of Rebirth, another game I have played through. Actually, okay, yeah, that's right, but I actually missed some things. So, late 2019, I believe. Yeah, I think it was late 2019 is when I played through, originally I had the original Tales of Xillia on a ROM. You know, obviously probably shouldn't be, I had no way to get a PS3 at the time. I wasn't making money to get one, but whatever. I never actually played all the way through it because it was so buggy or whatever. Like, I tried it and I just could not get it to work correctly, so I gave up on that. But eventually I just went and bought a PS3. I got Xillia 2, and Graces on it. And I played through, my first playthrough of Xillia was on Milla's side. So this is all before I played through Rebirth. Then I played through Tales of Xillia 2, and then I played through Tales of Graces. I actually don't. I might have played through Tales of Graces before I did Xillia 2. I think that is what happened. So around then is when I played through those, and up to this point, those are all the Tales. You know, besides the mobile ones, you know, I started doing Tales on the channel with Tales of the Rays when the worldwide version of the game, you know, first came. Actually, I started before. Well, yeah, I think I started. No. I think I started making videos when the worldwide version came out, and then obviously I moved to doing both versions until the worldwide version eventually shut down, and then of course I've been covering the Japanese version of the game, you know, for almost like 4 years now. And of course, you know, Christoria, Asteria, if there's anything big, I talk about that. But that's pretty much everything when it comes to current Tales. I do still want to play a lot of the other ones, but I'm really just kind of holding out and hoping that they eventually, you know, port a bunch of them. Obviously, they're not porting stuff right now because, you know, their plates are probably full with Tales of Arise right now. But after Tales of Arise, I do think 100% we are going to see either ports, a remaster, or a remake before the next Tales game after Arise. I don't think there's going to be a Tales of Arise 2. They pretty much stayed in early interviews. Now I'm just talking about news. They pretty much said that Arise is going to be a one and done. Whatever the story is, it'll be told in one game, and then the next game will be a completely new story with a new cast of characters. So, yeah, but I do think we will see that. So that's why I'm kind of holding off on, you know, I want to play through Fantasia. I want to play Destiny and Destiny 2. There were rumors about Destiny possibly, the remastered version from PS2, possibly getting ported to, or getting like an HD upgrade for modern consoles and then getting localized, which would be great. I would definitely play through that. Definitely would be something I'd cover on the channel. You know, Destiny 2. If Destiny 2 and Rebirth ever came over to the West, definitely play those. And, you know, there are others that, you know, Tempest. I don't know if I would actually play. I might honestly just, like, just watch that one. It would really just depend on what they do with Tempest, if it ever even comes to a point where I can even play it. But for the most part, that's pretty much... Oh, and I plan to go through Hearts as well at some point. But that's pretty much my story when it comes to my journey through the Tales series. And of course, we'll continue to enjoy that journey. But let me know what you guys think down below, I guess, about my journey. And let me know what your kind of exposure was to the Tales series. What was your first Tales game? What were your first impressions on it? And how long have you kind of been, you know, a fan of the series? Definitely would like to know, so let me know down below. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more if you're new to the channel. I'll see you all next time. Have a wonderful day, everyone.